What's a good green light to give a guy when he is approaching and is nervous? So honestly, if a guy approaches you, if you're a chick, guy approaches you, and you're trying to just like make it known to him that you're interested, and you kind of want to like you want to create that like environment for him to feel comfortable enough to, you know, maybe say some things that are a little bit out there and stuff like that, and hit on you a bit. Just be bubbly, go out of your way a little bit to be positive and show him that, you know, you're welcoming any of that type of stuff, you know? Don't be standoffish, don't be quiet. Just give off that like positive, bubbly type of energy. I hate saying that, it makes you sound like a fucking hippie type person, but yeah, and that will typically make a lot of guys open up a lot more and feel comfortable enough to proceed to hit on you or try to get your number or something like that. A lot of guys, I'm not like this, so it's hard for me to relate, but I've noticed from what women say and what a lot of guys say, a lot of guys are kind of emotionally dumb. They don't really realize whenever a girl's into them, that, or they just like lack the confidence to see it. And so for a lot of guys, you got to make it really, really obvious to them that you're into them. How to stay connected to masculine activities if you work remote and you're busy with the fam. So masculine activities, I would assume, I mean, is really any activity that you're doing that is progressing you in any way, shape, or form. So physically, mentally, spiritually. I'd say the most masculine like activity I can think of is doing something physical. So making sure you're going to the gym, pushing some fucking heavy weight around, getting out all of that stress and anger and shit out of you somewhere else and being productive and using it. Because that's really what masculinity is your emotions are like, you know, they have a certain energy to them. Like I said, I don't really like saying that word. It sounds like some hippie spiritual shit, but they really do. And you can't just make energy go away. It's like matter. You gotta do something with it. So whenever you have anger and stress and all this stuff, go to the gym and take it out and use it towards something productive. And now that negative emotion, energy, whatever you want to call it, is being used to create something positive. How does one find a partner with a female who is looking for someone compatible? I mean, honestly, just doing things that you enjoy, things that are helping you grow as a person, and then kind of going to things that involve other people with that. So like, you know, if you enjoy working out, don't just run by yourself, go to a gym where there's people, or maybe do some kind of fitness class or yoga class or something like that. Probably wouldn't really meet a lot of masculine guys at yoga. I mean, I like yoga. I haven't done it in a long time, and I'd like to do a yoga class, but you never know what'll happen. So put yourself in environments where you're going to meet like-minded people. You know, a club or a bar or whatever is just gonna have a random group of people. You know, you're kind of, you know, using like a gumball machine with a quarter in it. You don't know what you're gonna get. Whereas if you go somewhere like church, the gym, you're kind of narrowing down the type of person that you're more likely to get. Sure, you can find a hoe in church if you're looking for a girl, obviously. But the probability of finding a decent girl is higher in church than at a bar, right? Or a strip club. So put yourself into environments that are gonna put you around like-minded people or have the type of man that you're looking for. Boyfriend talks about marriage and kids but seems afraid to live together. Yeah, that's pretty common. I mean, a lot of guys, whenever they're getting married and going into a committed relationship, you have to realize, for us, that's a big deal. We're really putting a lot on the line, our resources. I mean, whenever guys get divorced, a lot of their resources typically go to women, and the courts aren't very friendly towards men in those scenarios. And we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to be the providers and, you know, to be a man for our family. So it's a lot of stress and pressure thinking about settling down. We love the thought of it. We really want to. It's just for a lot of guys, it's something that we want to be sure before we do it, if that makes sense. So a lot of guys, I would say, have, I don't even know if I'd call it commitment issues, but a lot of guys just like to be really sure that they're going to be with the right person. What do men find attractive in women in their early 30s? I'd say really anything that they're looking for in younger women, you know, in shape, takes care of yourself, emotionally stable. Why would a man want multiple wives? I would say because most men, whenever it comes to love and relationships and shit like that, you have to understand, like, for men, sexual attraction is a bit different. There doesn't need to be an emotional connection, whereas with most women, the majority of women need some kind of emotional connection. And then whenever they have that emotional connection with a man, they don't feel the need to have sex with other people because they don't form that emotional connection with other men. Versus guys, sex doesn't need that emotional connection for the most part. It's more like a fucking animal, pretty much. I mean, we are animals at the end of the day, And that's where a lot of this comes from. It's not really that a lot of men would want multiple wives. I mean, a lot of guys would enjoy a situation where they had a wife and, you know, as long as she never found out, he could sleep with other girls on the side occasionally, as long as, like I said, it never hurt her emotionally because she never found out. A lot of guys would be totally okay with that scenario. I think the majority of guys would. Some might not tell you, but that's the reality of it. How to deal with toxic leadership? I'm assuming this is like a military question. Honestly, there's not really too much you can do except for do your job and do it damn good and do it so good that nobody can really talk shit on you or tell you that you're not doing your job. How to get started on building a business given that you have the skills? So I would assume that this person's probably asking me about building like an online business because that's what I've done. And honestly, it just comes down to marketing yourself. You have to remember, and being humble, you have to remember there's tons and tons and tons of other people doing the exact same thing as you. So many people think that them and their business are like special, but there's like literally thousands doing the exact same thing. The only thing that really makes your business special is you at the end of the day. So you have to showcase you and your personality rather than thinking that like just giving tips or something is gonna be enough. Guess what? There's 1,000 other people giving those same tips that you are. You need to find a way to do it creatively that stands out to people. I lack discipline. What can I do to change that? Okay, discipline is, if you don't know, doing the shit that you know you need to do even when you don't want to do it. So how do you build discipline? That's the question everybody wants to know. And I would say the best way to start building discipline is by slowly implementing tasks into your life that you don't want to do, even if they don't really serve a great purpose other than just doing something difficult. So that could look like taking a freezing cold shower for 5 minutes in the morning every morning. That's something you really don't want to do, but you're telling yourself you're going to do it, so you just fucking do it. Reading 10 minutes a day. You might not want to do that. There might be days where it's hard. There might be days where you're busy and you're like, fuck, I got to go to bed, like blah, blah, blah. But you still got to do it. What you're doing is building that mental toughness, building that discipline, and teaching yourself to do the things you don't want to do, but you know you need to do in those difficult times. And it's building a mental toughness up and making it easier to do difficult tasks in the future when you don't want to do them. So then it will take even higher levels of stress to stop you, which we're not ever going to let it stop us because we're fucking go-getters and we get shit done around here, right? I like your relationship advice. Can you talk of how men can create shitty relationships? I don't really understand that question. I mean, men and women can both create shitty relationships, and there's like 5 million different ways. Thoughts on husband attending friend's bachelor party that includes the strip club? Fuck no, I would not. First off, if I was a woman, I would never be okay with that. I feel like I'd have enough self-respect to not be. And second, as a man, I would never think that that would be okay for me to do because, I mean, that would very obviously hurt the woman I'm with. Me going to a strip club with women all around, dancing half naked. Don't get me wrong, in my early 20s when I was in the Marines, love strip clubs. But I very quickly, faster than a lot of my friends, I'm proud to say, realized how fucking stupid they are. You're literally giving these hoes money and they're just like having to rub their tits and ass on you and they're getting rich off it and making you look like a retard. Just like I don't think a guy should be okay with a woman having a guy friend. That's the same thing as a strip club, essentially, whenever we're looking at the equivalents, because like we said earlier, women, it's more about emotional attachment. Men, it's more like physical. So a woman's strip club is essentially having guy best friends. No question, but your content has helped me grow a lot and see my value after my ex left me. Good, man. I'm glad to hear it. Glad I could help you out. Keep growing and keep building that value within yourself. How to dress for bigger than average quads and calves without looking like a Smurf. Honestly, just finding good fitting pants is the best thing you can do. I wear sweatpants a lot, so never usually an issue for me. Medically retiring now from the infantry. Any advice on the transition, especially being broken? You gotta find something new to put your time and your energy into. After being in the military, you had a mission for 4 years, 5 years, 6 years, however long you were in. And now all of a sudden you're thrown out into the world and you no longer have a mission. You no longer have that identity of being in. So you need to build a new identity for yourself through having a new purpose, a new mission, something you're going towards, something that defines you as a man. How to get over an ex? Same way that us as men really get over anything, man. You need to find a purpose, you need a mission, you need something to take that energy that I was talking about before and put it into something that's gonna be productive and make you better in the long run. So now you're turning that negative situation, that ex-girlfriend, into a positive thing. She was the catalyst for change that you needed in order to become this better version of yourself that you're going to build. But the important thing is taking that energy and taking action on it and building that better version of yourself, not just sitting around letting it consume your mind. You know what I mean? Woo! We got a lot of fucking questions here. Tips for getting myself out of the procrastination mindset and more get off my ass and get shit done. Okay, I see what you're saying. So this guy, essentially, he wants to stop being a procrastinator, wants to start getting shit done. And honestly, that starts with one, having a list of clearly defined things that you want to get done. It's very easy to not do things whenever you don't have it clearly defined what you want to do. Second, have planned out when you're gonna do these things, and then a strong reason why you're doing these things. If you don't have a strong why, it's so much easier to talk yourself out of doing shit. Okay, so you have to create that why in your mind. There has to be urgency around it. Like, fuck, this needs to get done or else I'm fucked. You know what I mean? How do I stop being overly clingy in a relationship? That's pretty simple in my opinion. You need to fall in love with yourself. You need to get clingy with you and your goals. You're probably clingy because you don't have jack shit going on in your life, something that you care about in your life that you're chasing and going after more than the person you're with. Your life has become that person rather than your own life. You need to have your own shit going on. You need to have a goal you're going after so that even if that person left you, you wouldn't give a fuck because you have whatever it is that you're chasing after that's so important to you that it doesn't matter what happens. Sure, you love them, you care about them, but at the end of the day, you still have that major goal that has, defines the meaning of your life and the purpose of your life rather than them doing that for you. Any thoughts on going through boot camp military training as a civilian just because? I wouldn't do it just because. I would go through it, if you want to join the military, but I don't know why you'd want to go through boot camp just for fun. I guess just to test your mental fortitude, I suppose. How to lock in, get stuff done, and avoid distractions. All right, just did that one, but specifically asked to avoid your phone. Turn your phone on airplane mode. Airplane mode is pretty amazing. I've been using it a lot recently. And don't use any apps unless you're being productive on them. That's another huge one. People don't understand Instagram, TikTok, all these apps. They are literally made to hijack your brain into continuously scrolling because that's how they make money. They hijack your brain into doing that. So unless you're doing something productive on them, like whenever I go on my phone, on Instagram or TikTok, whatever, I'm finding a video that I can stitch to make more content, which will eventually make me money. I'm not just scrolling because that's a waste of time. It's brain rot. There's so much bullshit on social media that fucks with your brain in little ways that you don't even understand because it's subconscious. What would you say about taking a gap year from school to chase something greater? I'd say go for it, but don't look at it as just a year. You need to be all in or all out with that kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's really easy if you're just half-assed in, like, oh, I'm going to school next year. I can kind of pursue this. If it doesn't work out, I got to back up. No, you got to like burn the boats type shit. And you need to go all fucking in. That's the only way you're gonna grind hard enough to get shit done. People don't understand that pressure is a privilege. Stress is a privilege. It's something that you need in order to make you do things that normally you wouldn't be capable of doing, like staying up for 2 or 3 days straight working towards something. That shit that's like people think is crazy, but you had that stress on you and that pressure on you to be successful that you were capable of doing it and did it with pride because you wanted that thing so bad. So you kind of need that pressure. So I wouldn't look at it like that. Any advice for people trying to compete in bodybuilding? Yeah, man, if you're trying to compete, just take it as serious as you can. Give it your all. Treat your off seasons just like you would a prep or a cut. You know what I mean? Like, don't be eating out every day and eating all this shit food during your off seasons. Make sure you get a coach. That's like one of the number one pieces of advice I could give you for bodybuilding. Train with intensity and understand that the majority of people aren't going to understand your bodybuilding journey. They just aren't going to get it, and that's completely okay. You don't need to get upset with them or anything. Just keep doing you. Don't let anybody convince you otherwise and convince you to stop or convince you to slack off or whatever. Give it your everything, because guess what? In 10 years, you're going to look back and be so fucking happy you did, because you're going to be so far ahead of everybody else. And everybody's going to be going, how do you get that far? How do you make that much progress? Blah, 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 blah. And you'll be like, huh. Because remember whenever you were telling me to eat those cheat meals or not go to the gym this day or not do my morning cardio or whatever, and I still did it anyways, that shit compiled and got me to where I am right now. What should us as men look for in women and vice versa? So whenever I was dating around and like looking for a woman, well, whenever I found my current girlfriend, who I've been with for over 3 years now, I think one of the key things was I wasn't looking for a girlfriend at the time. I didn't want one, and I think that's what put me into the mindset and into the posture that I was ready to have a girlfriend, that I wasn't just going to accept anything. It took a really high quality woman for me to actually be like, okay, this is worth dating. So I would say that for a man is like the mindset you want to be in, because a lot of guys don't realize, they're like, oh, I don't want to date anybody, but really they do deep down, you know what I mean? You need to really truly have something that you're grinding towards, working towards really hard, that you don't want anybody in your life, because it's going to be extra stress, so that it takes someone of very, very high quality to actually allow them to enter your life. And that would kind of look like somebody that just aligns with your morals and values. First off, that type of shit shouldn't really take any work. So if your morals and values don't line up, like you think guy friends aren't okay and she thinks they are, that's just, it's not going to work out. At the end of the day, it's just not going to work out. You know, you're really into your faith and Christianity and she's not going to work out. You know what I mean? Just like, that's just it's not going to work. It's going to be a waste of time. I'm telling you, you might convince yourself that it will, but it won't. Somebody that's willing to support you in your goals, definitely. And there's just a lot of things with women today that you need to look out for as well. Like, there's a lot of women that try to act masculine because of this new age feminism shit. So they act like overly aggressive and argumentative and stuff like that. That's a no-go. She's just going to be an annoying bitch that you don't want to deal with. Women that party a lot, definitely a no-go. Women with a lot of guy friends that they're not willing to stop talking to for you, that's a no-go. I mean, my girlfriend, for example, she was in the same place I was. She wasn't talking to anybody at the time and didn't want to be talking to anybody at the time. She was just kind of done with talking to guys and stuff. She'd learned, you know, enough shitty lessons, and she was at that place. So she was kind of in the same place, and it worked out really well. So yeah, I'll just be mindful of things and just trust your gut for the most part. So a lot of guys, whenever they feel those emotions, they don't trust their gut anymore. And they try to convince themselves, oh, she'll be better, she'll be fine, we'll start dating, blah, blah. No, she won't. How to stay consistent in the Word. So I read my Bible every morning, or at least I try to. I use an app called the Bible app, and I follow a year plan to go through the whole Bible. That's how I go through it. And sometimes I'll, you know, if I had trouble comprehending what I read, I'll go through and I'll look up like, you know, this chapter explained or whatever, and it'll break it down into very easy to comprehend and digest language so that I can take the lesson away from it. That's how I stay consistent with reading the Bible. But I'm gonna eat real quick because, well, I need to fucking eat and I'm starving right now, and I will answer more questions here shortly. Fuck, I'm knocking through. Look at this guy. This is his little den right here, right? So he has dens. That's his one den where he hides and likes to hang out, and then under my bed's the other one. The game plan is we got 26 more questions to get through. I'm thinking I'm going to shower. I don't know if you guys can hear me in the mic, but I figured I'd just show you the physique right now because I'm looking kind of decent. So abs are coming in pretty good. Shoulders, chest. Getting there, let's go. And also, hi Coda. All right, so slight little change of plans. My laundry is actually done. So we're gonna do this while I answer some of these questions, because I'm a big advocate of putting your laundry away right whenever it's done, or else somehow it just never gets done. It's another thing to help build discipline, mental toughness. Laundry, put it away right whenever it's done, don't let it sit forever. All right, thoughts on age gaps. Is there a limit, referring to like dating? And I feel like the only limit really is like, if you have to ask, it's probably not good. That's probably a bad sign, right? Obviously, 18, that's an important number whenever it comes to dating. But also, you know, I have met 18, 19, 20-year-old girls that have the mental maturity of a 30-year-old, and I've also met 30-year-olds that have the mental maturity of like a 15-year-old. Because the issue that comes about that people worry about is, you know, an older guy mentally abusing a younger girl because she isn't mature enough to realize that he's doing so. So that's what we don't want to do. Next, height, weight, how many days on and off, my routine. So I lift 5 days a week, 2 days off. My height is a little bit over 5'8". Weight right now is 190 pounds. Increased testosterone levels, I don't really know what that means, but I take testosterone to increase my testosterone levels. So other ways to increase testosterone levels naturally would be just like getting more sunlight, getting enough sleep, eating healthier, losing body fat. Thoughts on carnivore diet? I mean, if it works for you, it works for you. I don't really have any really crazy opinions on any form of diets. Like, I think just at the end of the day, whatever works for you to achieve your goals. I've had clients that they just couldn't lose weight with carbs. We tried carnivore, and all of a sudden, you know, they're making progress just week after week and got shredded. So, I mean, it really just comes down to the person, I would say. Favorite music, artist, playlist to listen to whenever I go to the gym? That changes a lot for me. never been a rap guy, so that's not in my wheelhouse. I've had a lot of classic rock phases. I've had a lot of like more screamo type rock phases. Right now I'm on like a Limp Bizkit, Korn, you know, that kind of music phase. How do I know when I'm ready to date a girl? Never been in a relationship ever before. Okay, so relationships, I personally believe it's good to get some experience and kind of figure out the way that women work, especially for men. Especially if you're a man that's like traditional and you want to be the leader in the relationship, you need to kind of understand how women work, how their minds work, and that requires some experience in dating and everything. But I'd say you're ready to start dating whenever you're okay with being alone with yourself as a guy, because being a leader in a relationship, which is, you know, the type of relationship that I think works best, if you're going to be a leader, you need to be capable of being independent, because someone who's dependent on the person they're with is incapable of making rational, clear decisions because they're too afraid of losing that person. Versus if you're capable of being alone, you know, you have your goals, all that shit in order, and you don't need that person, you won't have them in your life because you want them, not because you need them. It's important to distinct between those two. Then you're capable of making good decisions that will better the both of you. Like, you can't truly tell your girlfriend to do something that's really good for her if you're so afraid of losing her, you know what I mean? It's like you gotta let the butterfly fly sometimes, you know? And just have things going on in your life, have goals you're working towards, all that good stuff. Girl is very enthusiastic when we talk or text, but always says she's busy, brings up hangouts too. So she's enthusiastic, really enjoys talking to you, but she always says she's busy. So that's a tough one, very situation dependent. You know, I'm good at reading the situations whenever I have more context, because sometimes it can be something innocent. It could be like a shy girl that's kind of nervous to hang out with you and it doesn't mean much, or it could be a hoe type chick that's talking to 10, 12 dudes. She's going on a lot of dates with different guys and she just kind of likes you for the attention, someone to talk to, because a lot of women, I mean guys too, but a lot of women need their attention batteries, right? These are guys that they talk to, they kind of lead on, oh, we'll hang out, I want to hang out, but they never actually do it because they want you to continuously give them that sexual attention so they feel good about themselves, but they never have any intentions of actually hanging out with you like that. You need to kind of read the situation, get a feel for what type of girl she is, her past, stuff like that. It's all going to help you to determine that. What she does on the weekends, all that. Signs that guy like me more than just a friend. Guys will make it clear if they like you as more than a friend. I mean, unless they're playing like hard to get a little bit, but typically guys will make it kind of clear. They'll make they'll kind of like throw some bait in the water type of thing, right? They'll make little comments to see if you're interested in them more, so they know if they can push a little bit harder, right? So they might be like, oh, I have a hot tub at my house, and they're kind of testing to see if you're like, oh, really? I love hot tubs. And I'm like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, they kind of throw this little bait in the water, see if you take it, and go from there. Best way to find your person. So I'm not a believer in your person. There's no person out there for you. There's people out there for you, people that will work in different times of your life. It really comes down to two people that are at a point in their life where they're ready to have someone else come into their life. Both people need to, you know, bring some form of, both people need to bring something to the relationship. That's what I'm trying to get at. Both people need to add to the other person's life. They need to be in a place where they're willing to make, you know, not in a place in their life, but they need to be liking the person, loving the person enough to where they're willing to make sacrifices for the other person as well, but also secure enough in themselves they're not willing to sacrifice their identity for the other person too. It's a very fine balance, but it's finding two people that are in that place and want to grow together. And ultimately, you want to look at the relationship like a little baby. You have to, you know, take care of that thing. It can't fend for itself. You have to help it grow. You got to nurture it. You have to make sacrifices for it. You almost want to look at your relationship like its own little person. You know, it's both of you combined. You're both gonna have to change for it if you want it to grow and become something beautiful. Wow, look at me. I'm like a fucking poet. My son wants to cut weight for wrestling. How best can a mom help? So as a mom, if your son's trying to cut weight for wrestling, which is kind of similar to like a bodybuilding prep, I'd definitely keep any kind of like foods that would tempt him to cheat on his diet or whatever away from him. I would, you know, tell him how proud you are of him, you know, whether you like want to believe it or not. A lot of younger guys and guys in general, they like to hear that their hard work is recognized. They like to hear that people see that they're doing something with themselves. And especially as his mom, he wants to hear that you're proud of him for doing so. I already answered the list for the Hammies question. My girlfriend had one body before me while I was a virgin and I can't stop comparing. That's a tough situation, and I definitely understand. My first girlfriend that I ever had in high school had more bodies than me as well, and it was something that really bothered me. I can't quite explain to you why. Maybe because I was just an insecure high school kid or whatever, but it rubbed me the wrong way. I just didn't like it. I mean, it's just kind of one of those things that you're either going to have to get over it, or it's going to continue to be an issue and cause issues, and you're going to have to, you know, end things so that it doesn't hurt the both of you. Are you taking anything to combat hair thinning? My last cycle I ran for competition prep thinned my hair a little bit. I'm not. I have pretty good hair genetics, to be honest with you. If I was going to take anything, I'd order from Research Chem, which is in my Instagram bio. Minoxidil and RU58841, I believe, are the numbers. You can use both of those, and they're very, very effective at stopping hair loss while on gear. You can look up studies on them. You know, there's a lot, and they're very effective. They're not just some bullshit like a lot of people try to sell. How should I diet after a bodybuilding competition in order to stay on track and not gain too much fat? So I would hope that you have a coach. That's, you know, preferably what you want to have after a prep, just because you're not in really a mindset to be making decisions on your own. You're in a very emotional state. You're going to emotionally eat and stuff like that typically. But if you are doing it by yourself, you want to slowly recomp out of the prep diet. Obviously, you don't want to be eating your prep diet for too long. Really, you don't want to look at prep as the end of prep. You want to look at like 2 months after prep as the end of prep, because it's still going to suck for 2 months after, because you're reversing out of it. Your metabolism's still going to be cranking, but you're slowly adding food back in. And you just want to keep that prep mindset for those 2 months. Otherwise, you can fuck up your entire next off season by ruining your insulin sensitivity. Any tips on stopping watching corn? Yeah, dude. Literally, like, so go on Instagram Explore page if you go on that at all. If you hold in on any pictures of girls, you can hit not interested. It'll make all that go away. Just do that every time you see a girl. Anywhere else that you see like women that are partially naked or tempt you and make you want to watch porn and beat it, just be conscious of it and don't go near that type of shit. Keep it out of your mind. Keep yourself occupied, because it is, I mean, if there's women watching this too, it's hard for you to understand. Porn, corn, whatever the fuck, it is more addictive than gambling and video games. There's a study on it. Like, it does something to the dopamine being released in your brain. It literally causes an addiction. So yeah, you just gotta get any kind of temptations out of the way. Keep yourself occupied. Late at night in bed is the worst time for most guys. Take some sleeping pills and just knock yourself out. You gotta keep a Bible next to your bed, something. You got to find ways to just keep that temptation out of your head, keep yourself occupied, and start to resent it. Start to look at it like it's a dirty thing. Like, I feel like that's another good thing, changing your mindset towards it. A lot of guys look at it like it's no big deal, it's nonchalant, blah, blah, blah. But it's like a dirty, you're watching another guy fuck a girl. That's like some weird cuck type shit, you know what I mean? My ethnicity is Lebanese, Polish, German. Got some Scandinavian in me, a little bit of Viking. So yeah, I'm a little weird mix of things. But yeah, those are all the questions from the other day. So if you guys enjoyed this, I liked recording this and making it, and they'll get better as I go. I haven't recorded a YouTube video, like I said, in a hot minute, so I felt like a little awkward talking on the camera and everything. And just, you know, how to go about formatting the video and everything. So I just sort of raw dogged it. But if you guys enjoyed it, let me know. I would definitely like to do more of these. Helps me to answer the questions more in depth and just kind of run through them and show you a little bit of my day and everything. So make sure to comment if you enjoyed the video. Hold on. So yeah, like I was saying, if you really enjoyed the video genuinely and you want to see more stuff like this, the best way to signal that to me is doing stuff like commenting, liking the video, subscribing, sharing it on your Instagram stories to get more people to watch. Because ultimately, you know, this is my job. It's what I do. And I do enjoy it. It's just like, I'm going to put time and effort into the things that yield results. Obviously, something like YouTube, I don't expect to yield like amazing results right off the bat. It takes time. But if I do see that there's like a interest in this and it's, you know, possibly going to lead somewhere, then I'm going to put more time into it, especially because I enjoy doing the YouTube videos more than I really do any other type of content, because I can just get more in depth. It's more chill. I feel like I'm like hanging out with you guys a little bit, which is what I feel like I wish I could do with everybody that follows me and DMs me and comments and stuff. But yeah, hold that thought. I'm going to put the rest of these clothes away real quick. Alrighty guys, so we are now at the end of the night. Basically, this is what I do every night. I take these sleep caps, 4, 5, 6 of these things. Then I'll also take melatonin with this as well before I eat my meal. I don't really know if it makes a difference or not, but I just feel like, what the hell's going on here? I feel like the sleep supplements should be taken on a fasted stomach probably. So I feel like if the food is in there and then you take them, they probably don't digest the same. And the diet beverage for the night is Canada Dry, the cranberry one. I fucking absolutely love this drink. And the last meal is my same last meal as usual. It's fucking delicious. I just got this put in my meal plan like 2 weeks ago. 10 ounces of 93.7 ground beef and 200 grams of sweet potato. Never had it before, never had that combination of sweet potato with ground beef, but wow, it is like my new all-time favorite meal. I look forward to this shit all day just because it tastes so good. That's one nice thing about whenever you're dieting. Food just tastes better. You really appreciate your meals more. Like, it's really easy in our American culture to get, I don't know, kind of forget how lucky we are to have the food we have and to not be able to appreciate like little meals like sweet potato and ground beef that taste really good. It's just like if you're constantly eating processed foods that taste really, really good, this doesn't taste nearly as good. But it tastes absolutely delicious to me, who is eating on a meal plan all day. We're a couple grams off. Come on, baby. 200 on the dot. Let's go. So then what I do, here, Cody, you want to try some sweet potato? I mash this into here until it's like mixed all together. And there's no chunks of sweet potato anymore. Pretty productive day. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. I really enjoyed making it, so I'll be making more of them. I feel like now I'm just kind of blabbering on. So yeah, I'll see you guys in the next video.